With the same justification as science, Agni Yoga may be called a religion, because we explore the other spiritual world and our connection with it. However, Agni Yoga breaks with the disastrous habit to recognize only one's own confession and to discard every other faith. It must be noted that the primary form of a teaching does not contain negative postulates, but superstitious followers begin to fence in the covenants with negations, obstructing the good. There results the ruinous formula, "Our creed is the best," or "We are the true believers, all others are infidels." From this point, it is a single step to the Crusades, to the Inquisition, and to seas of blood in the name of those who condemned killing. We would like to introduce you to a better attitude. There is only one truth, but man's ability to recognize it is limited. Therefore, at different times, different people have taken different approaches to this one and only truth. The same unalterable truth is given to humanity repeatedly, but clothed in various garments. The fundamental truths, as expressed by each one of the Buddhas and avatars of the human race, have ever been the same, whatever the nation or the language in which they were expressed. They may be found in the Upanishads, the Vedas, the commandments of Moses, as well as in the teachings of Jesus, Confucius, and others. The truth is always the same, but the connections are different, as they depend on the consciousness. All the great religious teachings originate from one and the same source. Therefore, they all have to be observed. Is it possible that humanity cannot comprehend that knowledge emanates from the one source? Therefore, the dividing line between knowledge and ignorance is the dividing line between light and darkness. We are easily able to bring together the Torah with the hymns of the Vedas or the precepts of Buddha with the words of Christ. For we do not discern differences between teachings emanating from the one source. Once unfettered and delivered from their dead weight of dogmatic interpretations, personal names, anthropomorphic conceptions, and salaried priests, the fundamental doctrines of all religions will be proved identical in their esoteric meaning. Osiris, Krishna, Buddha, Christ will be shown as different names for one and the same royal highway to final bliss, Nirvana. All the great teachings issue from the one source, and it is impossible to accept one and to reject another. You must not reject the old knowledge. The new one is built upon it and expands it in a quite natural way. The two signs of the authenticity of a teaching are: first, striving for the common good; second, acceptance of all previous teachings, which are congruous with the first sign. Each era chooses its new corresponding teaching. No new teaching ever excludes the preceding ones. Little attention is paid to this fact, for the followers of every teaching like to build their success on the denial of the previous teachings. If there is only one truth, it can do no harm if all of you take different individual approaches to it. If you pursue them honestly, they will all lead from different standpoints, sides and steps of the pyramid to the same goal, to the top. Poor is the method of pedagogues who ridicule each attempt at an original solution of a problem. Quests of new approaches to truth should be welcomed. If one's conviction is steadfast that there is only one truth, there can be no fear that some other truth will be found. By whatever paths ye come to me, I shall meet ye. The religions differ slightly because they were revealed in different ways, at different times, in different places and different cultures, to people with different levels of education, and were understood differently and often misrepresented. I say as much as is necessary and possible. I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. We brothers of humanity transmit a part of the truth. When I say a part of the great truth, I indeed mean that part which can be assimilated upon this planet. What I have perceived and not communicated to you is far more than what I have communicated to you. The law of correspondence applies. Everything that humanity can grasp with its limited abilities of cognition will be imparted. All that is possible will be done. In all times, that part of the truth which humanity could assimilate was always given to the world. The same applies to each individual. The one is capable of absorbing more, the other less of the higher knowledge. Each summoned one is offered the entire chalice. If he does not receive the messenger, he will get only a portion of what has been decreed. If he cannot assimilate this part, he will be given a still smaller particle. Thus does each one determine his own allotment. It is a terrible aberration, in contradiction to evolution and incompatible with scientific thinking, to believe that religious insight does not change over the millennia. It is not different from any other knowledge. It would be an indictment to mankind if we had made no progress in the area of religion over the ages. Why should our ability to explore the higher reality not continue to grow, like every other knowledge, with increasing age and maturity? Only fanatics reject the possibility of any further development of religious knowledge. The sacred teaching cannot become congealed at one level. Truth is one, but each century and even each decade approaches it in its own way. New scrolls are unrolled, and the human consciousness observes in a new way the manifestations of the universe. The world lives by motion, and the issuance of the sacred teaching is evoked by advancing. Each decade reveals a new approach to the sacred teaching. One should not speak about new teachings, since truth is one. New data and new perception of them will be only the continuance of cognition. Each one who impedes this cognition performs a transgression against humanity. Sectarianism and fanaticism are out of place on the paths of knowledge. Whoever can impede cognition is no follower of truth. Quarrel and strife is the lot of the litterers. Therefore, together with the progressing expansion of its consciousness, humanity will gain higher religious insight as well, such as, for example, today, the new wisdom conveyed by Agni Yoga. A fanatic deprives himself of progress. He cannot perfect himself or succeed. A fanatic is as if dead. Fanaticism can be contagious, for weak people fear any kind of advancement. Their dark existence rests upon a foundation of dogma. Regrettably, fanaticism tends to form around any teaching and does not permit the deepening of its foundations. Fanatics believe that it is precisely they who are the true guardians of the pure teaching. A fanatic insists that the teaching he adheres to cannot change. He does not acknowledge that learning is a living process. There can be no stagnation in eternity. All is in motion, in the striving toward perfection. Agni Yoga is a synthesis of all previous religions. It confirms them where they proclaim the truth. It corrects them where they were distorted. Above all, Agni Yoga develops them further to that extent which modern man is able to grasp. Thus, Agni Yoga forms the basis for a new world religion. Religion and science were in conflict with each other for centuries. Faith and knowledge seem to exclude one another. This separation must be overcome if we want to gain higher insight. Take a better standpoint. In truth, religion and science are complementary ways of understanding the one and only indivisible truth. The reality is made of spirit and matter. Therefore, we need science and spirituality alike in order to fully, not only in limited aspects, grasp its essence. You certainly agree with the scientist who rejects the idea of God as an old man with a white beard and who refuses to believe in unnatural concepts. Spiritual cognition should not be separated from reason. It stands higher than reason, but it must not contradict reason. Even faith must be well grounded, and thus can the teaching live. However, we urge the scientist to broaden his horizon and to explore the invisible reality, the often witnessed apparitions and phenomena of a higher order in a scientific manner, namely through observation, experiment, and experience. Agni Yoga is actually a synthesis of science and religion. We are working on the basis of reason, but we add to the conventional ways of scientific research the spiritual, intuitive understanding of the heart, without allowing any contradiction between the two to arise. Religion and science must not be considered separate in their essential nature. Thus, science and religion merge upon one single principle. Science cannot destroy the concept of the divinity of fire, nor can religion impose an interdiction on the subtle analysis made by science. Knowledge without religion is lame. Religion without knowledge is blind. Thus, something new is being born, a divine science, or a scientific spirituality, which will raise the knowledge of mankind to a higher level. Let priests become more scientific, and scientists more spiritual. The divine science will exist. The supermundane will become visible to us, but then earthly life too will become supermundane. This synthesis was already familiar to the more spiritually minded Middle Ages. It was lost in the West following the Enlightenment. Link as much as you can faith with reason. Credo ut intelligam. I believe so that I understand.